Good morning. I'm Sophie and I'm currently at Kechara Forest Retreat, Bentong, Malaysia. And now I will share the first part of the Four Noble Truths, which is suffering. The Buddha has gained enlightenment 2,500 years ago from 3 aeons of virtuous practices. And he saw the truth in nature and understood the way out of sufferings. He then taught in 84,000 teachings that on this truth to help others out of their sufferings. The Four Noble Truths are the basis of his teachings, and we need to understand these truths in order for one to liberate ourselves from samsara and sufferings. The Four Noble Truths are the truth of suffering or existence of sufferings, the truth of the causes of suffering, the truth of cessation of suffering, and the truth of the way out of suffering. Today I will share with you the first of the Four Noble Truths, which is the existence of sufferings. The Pali word dukkha for suffering also includes non-satisfaction, disease, and instability. All this points to the fact that there is nothing that can provide us with true or lasting happiness in our lives. The first step in the spiritual life is to look very closely and honestly at our own experiences of life and see that there is suffering. And well, actually there is suffering because the moment that we are born, then it's entering into samsara, which is the world of suffering. In samsara there is actually 6 realms: the God realms, the demigod, the human, animal, ghosts, or they refer to as hungry ghosts, and the hell realm. So there is suffering no matter what realm you are in. So for example, in the God realm, and I'll share with you a picture of that. This is the representation of a God realm where everybody is so beautiful. There's you enjoy all the best that you can possibly wish for in the God realm: the endless food, the beauty, the praises, all the best living conditions. But although as a God you could live hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years, but eventually your karma would exhaust as a God, and you will then lose what you have: your beauty, your fun, and everything. And after such a long time of living in enjoyment and having praises, imagine how much you will suffer in losing it. So there is suffering actually, because they will constant worry of the time is up. And then in the demigod realm, and here's a picture, you are almost like a god but not quite. So as such, you will constantly feel jealousy of the gods, seeing their perfect beauty, seeing their wishes fulfilled, and their very, very long lives, and so on. So the suffering of jealousy is very real to the demigods. And then in the animal realm, as you can see in the picture, every day we see conditions of their living, always exposed to the condition of nature, living in a survival mode and often going hungry. And even if the animal is living up in as a pampered pet, he will still be subject to being not able to communicate with his owner. He has no freedom as he is subject to the confines of his owner's wishes. And he will not have the faculty to understand the teachings of the Buddha to practice his way to gaining enlightenment, total enlightenment. And look at the picture, that is a cow, having to be born into this situation where you're brought up just to be killed and fed to people, who are eating the corpse of this cow. And the thing is, you see how they kill the cow. They just hack at the neck, and often the blade is not even sharp. is a blunt knife, and they just keep hacking and hacking until the cow collapses and die. So with each time the knife goes down, the force of the knife goes into the neck, can you imagine the pain of it? I just hope that all of you will consider, the sufferings of these animals, that it is so not necessary, because being a vegetarian, you get all the nutrition that you can get, in this modern world now. Everything is quite available. So please consider being a vegetarian and not bring suffering to these animals. And then there's the ghost realm. It's beings being stuck due to their attachment, which could be anger or revenge or love or greed and so on. And they are mostly attached to the feeling of it and find it very, very hard to let go. And yet, and so imagine, always being in that constant wanting, and yet never being able to get. They may be able to see us or hear us, or even wish to communicate with us, but we as human, often we can't see them. So, and they get so frustrated, trying to communicate. And also when they see people eating all those delicious food, no matter how they try, they can't. In the scriptures, they're called hungry ghosts, and some of them has a knot in their neck. So even if they do get food, they're not able to swallow. And if those without the knot, when they swallow, the food is like fire. It's not able to reach their stomach to have that feeling of fulfillment. So they're always constantly yearning and wanting, that is the condition of the ghost realm, which is always suffering. And then in the realm of hell, well, it is hell. There is actually, in the scriptures, there is actually a cold hell and a hot hell, where the cold is like, it's so freezing, from my own imagination, it'll be like something like, in the North Pole or the South Pole, where it's nothing survives, everything is so cold. And then in the hot, the hot hells will be like, the crater of the volcano and all that. And then within the hells itself, there are all different types of suffering. There is like a mountain of knives, where you're made to climb it, so you get all the cuts and all that. And if you don't, there are the dogs who come chase after you, and they will start biting you and eating you, or so forth that you will be forced to climb the mountain. And then there's that forest of knives, where you have to go through all the knives and all that. And there's all types of sufferings in hell. And these are those people who have done extreme harm, like harming a Buddha or killing a Buddha or killing others. That they have so much anger in them that they purposely make other people's life so unhappy, and all these people would probably end up in hell. So while we're alive, always be mindful. So finally, there's the human realm. We are always constantly suffering as well, from pain, from sickness, being tired, or from old age, and of course from death. And whatever happiness we experience will always be short-lived. And in our pursuit to keep the happiness, we'll always encounter suffering each time we fail to achieve that. So it's really the first step to recognize that we are suffering, and in that we are able to accept help, and that we are willing to accept help and to engage in the methods taught by Buddha to get out of suffering. Otherwise, if we do not recognize that we are suffering, then we will never put the value of Buddha's teachings into practice. We will just treat it as academic and not really bothered about it, you know. So Buddha has taught this is the very first basis, that we need to recognize that we are in suffering and that we will take the action of being out of, to be released from the suffering. So actually in the human realm, we can actually experience the 5 other realms, you know, as you can see, the gods, the queens, the kings, the queens, they are like, you know, can be equivalent to the god realms, where they have everything at their beck and call. And then in the demigod realms are those like maybe the new rich who wish to get into, you know, the society of, you know, that I think they do have like society where all the old rich, you know, hangs out in, and the new rich will try to get into their circle. And but the thing is, they will be looked down on because they are new, and you know, they're constantly seeking to be like them, and that is the suffering of it. And then like the animals, you know, animal realms, like those people who constantly are looking for food, you know, always their whole entire day is like, you know, planning this, looking for this food, that food, what is delicious, you know, that, you know, all that attachment to. And then like, you know, and some are just looking for sex, you know, like how to entice the woman or entice the man, you know, all these are like very animal like mannerism. And then the ghosts or hungry ghosts, and you know, there are those people who are so attached to their possessions, you know, to their wealth, to their material, that, you know, any little, you know, if you happen to just accidentally touch it or what, you know, it really irks them. Or, you know, whatever they have gained, they are so attached, they are not able to let go. Especially, you know, I've seen the series on TV, The Hoarders, where they keep every single thing in their house. They are not willing to just throw it away. So that is could be equivalent to the ghost realm. And then for the hell realm, well, every day you're in depression. You know, you're always planning bad things for other people. That will be equivalent to the hell realm. So as such, we can experience it in our human lives. So it is very important that we do recognize that we are suffering, and that you know, that we wish to actually gain the methods out of suffering. So, and with that, I will end the session today, and thank you for sharing your time with me. So I'll do a completion dedication in Tibetan. Jangjub Senjo Rinpoche, Mage Panam Geishi, Gepanam Pame Payang, Gone Gondu Pewashu, Toni Toha Rinpoche, Mage Panam Geishi, Gepanam Pame Payang, Gone Gondu Pewashu, Dasoji Nisabagi Wadi, Dandandroa Gonagapada, Jepan Jesu no Santrapai, Dumping Impori Dusa, Seisho, Gewa Kunto Yandala Mada, Dramijo Kepala Joji, Sadam Langi Yotera Zoni, Doji Shangi Ngopangatus, Gewa Di Yududa, Lamasangajuyone, Jowachi Kemalupa, Dei Salago Pashu, Jogi Kaposung. Josu nampa pewala geki sama siwadang tungki malu sangwashu dadap sungi desunda drewa songi lateni gewala sandrapai dampa yureva giushi ni modele sendele ni migo nyandele shi ni sentatu dele pao kunju songi jingilo kunju songi ngotroso kunju songi trasi sho jesu nama kusen rapting ching nuka trini chochu ke padang lo samte pedro mi sab songi troi musa tatu ni giushi gawe rawe kowe shingam de penandeo malu gowe ni jaran zi wanten singe songi chape shi de badu de giushi Tum ping otro malupa, then de dala sal du so, kodan de palong jotnam, ke baso she shupten sal. Thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll see you for the next session.